Going into the second hour conversation for the day. One moment you are happy with your partner, you guys are making future plans. Maybe you decided that you're going on a vacation soon and things are going pretty well or not because, relationships have those ups and downs. But then something big happens. They go to the doctor and they've been told that they have a very serious illness. And this diagnosis shifts everything in a relationship because when illness enters a relationship, it doesn't only affect the body, it also touches the core of who we are. For the partner facing a serious diagnosis, there's often a quiet personal struggle with losing independence, confidence, and a sense of purpose. But also at the same time, the well spouse may also begin to feel the weight of new responsibilities shifting from partner to caregiver, and sometimes without warning or preparation. We're exploring how couples can navigate this invisible shift of serious illness within a relationship. Well, joining us in today's conversation is Phillip Magliolo, who's the founder of Big Heart Carers, a professional caregivers, and Dr. Keitumetse, a clinical psychologist and friend here of On the Move to help us unpack this. Thank you both for joining us. But I'm going to start with you, Phillip. Thank you and good morning. Let's speak about this, right? You are professional caregivers, and one thing that I'm sure that you know for sure is that caregiving isn't an easy thing, and it's really not for the everyday and average person. So when the shift comes into a relationship, the caregiving role should be one of the hardest of them all, isn't it?
Oh, for sure. Good morning to everybody. Yeah, in my opinion, when there's a serious illness, it crops up, where there's a test, a doctor's test, or a scan, or whatever. Um, it it affects the physical in the person that's been scanned. It affects the independence. I mean, the daily tasks are gone because it throws everything into turmoil. I mean, feelings of frustration and helplessness, as well. They don't know what to do. So they can Google the illness, but the emotional part of it affects everybody.
Dr. Keitumetse, this is really, a staggering experience for anyone to go through. Nobody who goes to the doctor for maybe something they might be feeling, maybe something they think might be small, and is told serious news of a big diagnosis can change your entire life. There's two dimensions to this response, right? The response of the person who's been given the diagnosis and the response of both of them who are in the relationship. But let's speak about that. What are the first changes that we can start seeing if one partner has been diagnosed with something serious?
Definitely, with such news, and good day to everyone. When you get such news, you start with a lot of denial. There can be a lot of, grieving process, basically, and the one who is diagnosed might have to grieve their lives before they were diagnosed, before they were, held the hand that they were given, but also the person watching this, their partner, would also need to start grieving, the reality that the person will never be the same. And also there is also sometimes, you don't know, we don't know what we don't know. You also don't know how long or what will happen,
Sure.
The progression of the disease. Therefore, that also can create a lot of anxiety. Pardon me, whereby, some people, if they're wired to have anxiety, they think of the worst case scenario. And that can cause also a lot of problems. But even within the relationship, there can be a lot of dynamic changes where the one who is diagnosed is no longer the same, and maybe the one who is supporting or married to the person feels like they're walking on eggshells. They can never even, just have their normal fights now because of what has happened. But definitely it causes a lot of internal conflict, but also can create conflict within the relationship, and hence each of them individually need to be assisted to journey through and accept or deal with the diagnosis, and then as a couple as well.
Phillip, Dr. Keitumetse is saying something profound there. The fact that it's not just the person who's getting the diagnosis, it's also the person who is actually a partner to that particular individual. that's the thing. You might not have the illness physically yourself as the partner, but you are going to be affected in a big way, Phillip. What have you seen being one of the overwhelming things for partners when someone is diagnosed of something serious and that person is someone that they truly love?
Yeah, firstly, there's a lack of knowledge on, or not on the actual sickness or disease or illness that they have, but how to deal with it, the communication part of it, the, what do they do, the change of dynamic, do they take everything on, do they give it to the family, do they, what do they do specifically? And the clients, when they approach us, you can see they're physically, mentally, and spiritually broken because they're trying to take everything on themselves, and they're not that kind of work, as well as live their own lives and keep their own independence. It's really tough on the actual partner itself.
Mm-hmm.
The patient is going through the physical part of it,
Mm-hmm.
but the partner is going through the emotional part, like I said, the spiritual part as well. And it's really tough on the partner.
All right, Phillip, I'm going to take a bit of a break. We're speaking to Phillip Magliolo, who is a founder of Big Heart Carers, which is a professional caregiving organization. But we're also joined by our friend, clinical psychologist, Dr. Keitumetse. Go to our On the Move poll and give us your thoughts as we are looking at this conversation on our socials today, especially on X. We're asking the question, when a serious illness enters a relationship, roles often shift from partner to caregiver. How can couples best protect their bond in the face of such change? Giving you 4 options. Is it open communication, or rather, is it shared support systems? Or could it be professional therapy? The last option there, faith and resilience. Let us know on X.
Keeping you on the know and on the move.
Darubini ya Afrika na I am Henry Shakif.
Raisi Yoweri Kaguta Museveni amezindua ilani ya chama tawala cha NRM ya kuanzia mwaka 2026 mpaka mwaka 2031. Taarifa hii ikoje?
Kweli kabisa, Rais Yoweri Kaguta Museveni muda mchache uliopita aliweza kuhutubia mkutano ambao uliohusisha wanachama wa Kongwe na hali kadhalika wanachama waandamizi wa chama tawala cha NRM, yani National Resistance Movement.
Na katika kuzindua hiyo ilani yake ya chama tawala, pengine wana Uganda wamekuwa wana yapi ya kusema? Hisia zao zinaeleza nini haswa?
Kuna hisia tofauti. Kuna wale ambao wanamuunga mkono, wanaunga kauli ya Rais Museveni, lakini kuna wale ambao wanasema kwamba amekuwa akirudia mara kwa mara hayo matamshi.
Darubini ya Afrika kila Jumatatu hadi Ijumaa kuanzia saa 11 kamili hadi saa 12 kamili jioni majira ya Afrika ya Kati.
We are up, we are ready, we are on the move with Pali Satawo and Benjamin Mushatama on Channel Africa.
22 minutes past 10 o'clock Central African time. Today in our second hour, we're looking at when illness enters a relationship. How does the person diagnosed with that illness deal with the relationship they're in with their partner? But most importantly, does the partner also have an obligation to that person? It's tricky, isn't it? Because I was saying off air that not everyone feels like they're a caregiver. Some people were raised to be caregivers. Some people opt out because they feel like it's not a burden that they want to carry. And I don't know, most of the time we demonize those people who don't even want to carry the burden. It's like, no, but you've been this person's partner for so long. Now that they're sick, you're walking away. And sometimes we make that person feel like their feelings are invalid, to say, I am not the right kind of person to look after this person. I don't even know where to start. And I think that's those kind of situations that make this kind of situation very complicated. We're speaking to our guest about the situation, and we're joined by Phillip Magliolo, and founder of Big Heart Carers. And also we've got Dr. Keitumetse, who's a clinical psychologist. Phillip, let me stay with you just for a little while, because you were saying how devastating it is for the person who might have the illness, but it's equally devastating for the partner. I mean, the partner would probably have to take over a bit of the caregiving, but not everyone can actually do this. Do you think this is something that's very misunderstood in relationships on how to go about it?
Definitely. Like I say, it's a lack of knowledge on what to do as a caregiver. A partner, I mean, you love your partner, but you weren't born to be a caregiver. Not everybody is born to be a caregiver. Now, being a caregiver, in my opinion, is a calling. Okay, you must want to do it and help people from the heart, and be a caregiver, be a companion, be a confidant, and that's where it comes in. If the partner that is going to be a caregiver needs to be successful, she needs help or he needs help. With caregiving agencies where you have that peace of mind that somebody is looking after your partner and strong enough when it's time for you to take over, because not that everybody's got the money to do a 24-hour care. When the caregiver leaves, the caregiver's job as well, look after the partner's education. This is changing of a nappy. This is how you help the person walk. This is the physiotherapy side.
Yeah.
You know, and basically teach them to become caregivers themselves.
Yeah. Yes, please continue.
No. As well as they can. They
All
must obviously right away, but they might be able to take over and be strong enough when it's time for them to go look after their partner when the caregiver.
Well, Dr. Keitumetse, let me bring you back into this conversation because, sometimes caregiving can be outsourced, and it's not the first thing that people actually think of in the beginning of a diagnosis, is it? Because that person might not need caregiving as yet. Sometimes it could take months or even years before they get to a point where, caregiving has to be outsourced or maybe like taught extensively. But there are other aspects of the relationship, the emotional aspects, and just trying to be together. There's statistics that say, in fact, many statistics and studies that say that men are more likely to leave their wives when a serious diagnosis is made, and women are more likely to stay. But outside of that, humans are humans, and some people might feel like the burden, even the emotional burden, is too much for them to handle. If a couple is on the same track and they do want to still make their relationship work and their relationship flourish, even outside of the illness itself, what are some of the things that they can engage on or do to keep their relationship strong?
Definitely, the caregiver is at risk for burnout, right? Meaning they can just be exhausted from taking care of someone. Therefore, debriefing individually for them cannot be overemphasized. Watching this person deteriorate can cause a lot of emotional stress for the caregiver and the helplessness as well. So definitely it can lead to burnout, whereby they feel they have nothing left to give to the person, and the person might also, the one struggling, that personality might change a little bit because they are feeling so hopeless and they must be helped with things that they didn't need help for before. Therefore, I always emphasize that you're an individual first before you are a couple. So therefore, individual therapy is to really go through or process the emotions that you might be feeling, right? Because the one who's not well might be experiencing even some sort of neglect or expecting more from the partner, or they might be feeling guilty. You never know what they are feeling. So definitely individual processes for each, and then together in couples therapy to see how do we navigate this going forward, and just so that we can survive. So, but they need to be on the same page, because remember also the traumas come at times when things are not okay, right? So they don't have timing per se. Maybe the relationship was already under pressure, under stress. There was a lot going on. So this might just have been the thing that pushes it over the edge.
Yeah.
So we really need to understand that they need to do the work together as individuals and then as a couple to ensure that they survive this. And also watching your partner deteriorate can create what we call vicarious trauma or secondary traumatization, where you become traumatized just from watching or hearing the experience of someone who's traumatized. That's why even me as a therapist, I need to go for debriefings just because of, always constantly, giving care. Even though it's not physical, it's emotional, it still can lead to burnout. So I think that awareness and that communication and taking care of self, definitely.
We always put people on a guilt trip when they say, you know what, I don't think I can handle this, Dr. Keitumetse. I really need to walk away from this relationship. And there's also that guilt tripping for that. What's your take on that? On someone who's honest enough to say, I love this person, but I just can't handle this anymore. It's not good for me, but I need to walk away. Maybe they also want to pursue a relationship with someone else. It does happen in real life. What do we say to that situation? Because in society, we demonize that person.
I think we need to understand that stress, good or bad, meaning if I win the lotto and then suddenly my character comes out or something happens to me, right, where someone is diagnosed with someone. So stress often pushes one's character to truly come out. And if that person is honest enough to say, I actually do not have the capacity for this, they're just being honest. And I think it's their reality, it's their truth. It's sad, but obviously it is their truth. And I think it doesn't help us to, judge or demonize that or expect them to do that. It's what they feel, it's their reality. So I think we also need to understand that people are who they are, and we can't change it, and it's a choice. And hopefully they have a discussion of sort as a couple to say, how do we move forward from this?
Well, it's a tough one indeed, but we'll have to leave it there. Thank you so much to both you, Phillip Magliolo, the founder of Big Heart Carers, which are professional caregivers, and clinical psychologist Dr. Keitumetse Mashego, for helping us unpack this issue. It's a very interesting one, but also not an easy one at all. So let us know what your thoughts are on our On The Move poll at Channel Africa 1. Thank you to our guests for the day. It's now 10:31 Central Africa time. Let's bring back Musibudi Makura for our latest sports.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.